Hi and welcome to this video. Welcome to this course. So this is the How to Start Your Own Magazine 101 course. There will be an entire playlist on my YouTube channel right here where you can view all of the videos. This course is being remade right now, so it actually already exists over on Teachable and Patreon, but I am currently redoing it and making it basically all videos and giving my patrons over on Patreon access to all of the written content. The original course was primarily just written documents, curriculum, and then it had a few videos, like one in each module, basically giving an introduction of what was in each module. But now I am doing a video to cover each module instead, and then giving the written stuff as like basically an add-on or to go along with these videos. And I may even condense them down a bit, but I'm not too sure yet. So if you want access to all of those, please head over to my Patreon. The link will be in the description. But before I begin, I just wanted to give a little background on who I am and why basically I think that I have authority to teach you anything about magazines. How I got into the magazine industry was basically, as a child, I was obsessed with journalism and magazines and writing, and I always wanted to work for a magazine, but I had no idea how you got into it. So as a teenager, I used to catch the bus sometimes, and at the train station where the bus would leave from, that's how it works in Australia, buses are at train stations as well as bus stops. But anyway, there was a little stand, and every day I'd buy a donut and the latest magazines that Dolly and Girlfriend and all of those had. And Lee Campbell, some of you may know her, she's a beauty editor now for Mamamia, but she used to be the beauty editor for, it was either Dolly or Girlfriend, and I sent her a letter one day because they had a PO box where you could contact her. So I sent her a letter asking how I would become a beauty editor like her, and she told me that a degree in journalism would be a start. So fast forward, I want to say 10 years later, I started doing a degree in journalism, and now I've tried this so many times, like 3 times I think, and then I'd always get sidetracked with something else. So the first time I tried, I don't think it was an actual journalism degree, but it would get you a job in journalism. So it was like a major in creative writing and news writing or something like that. I did it by distance, and it was just a bit too hard to do at that stage in my life, and I didn't have the dedication. I wasn't experienced in life, and I find that being experienced in life and being a bit older gives you more motivation to do things like that, more concentration. So I ditched that and ended up doing a diploma in beauty therapy, which actually is going to tie in with this whole story. So I did my diploma in beauty therapy. I started up a beauty room of my own. I was freelancing, and then I'd also do like hide out a room at a hairdressing salon and do my beauty there. So when I was doing my beauty, I actually started up a business called KBS Cosmetics. You can look it up on Instagram. And basically when I had KBS Cosmetics, I sold false eyelashes. I designed a brand of brush cleaning soaps and a bunch of different things, some cool earrings, and I wanted to find a way to advertise all of my products. So I thought, why not start a like beauty pamphlet type thing? So the idea played on my mind for a little while, and I didn't really know how to go about it. And fast forward a bit more, I hadn't ended up putting the idea together. I kind of had to play around on Canva, and then I went to this beauty makeup trade show thing called IMATS. So I had a stand there. That was a really great experience, very eye-opening, put into perspective how small my business actually was. But I made a lot of great contacts there, and that also ties into this. So Throughout my life, I have worked in jobs where I meet people for a living. So MATS is kind of basically a massive way to meet influencers who can wear your products as a business and talk about them to people. That's a big thing, to meet other brands, to learn about ingredients, to learn about just everything, public speaking, everything. So as well as that, I also had a bit of experience in trade shows because I work for a software company and I had a hand in setting up some of their booths, trade shows, doing marketing and stuff like that. So marketing is a big thing in this story as well. This story has so many elements to it. So all of that being said, I decided that I wanted to get back into writing, and with the idea on my mind of starting a magazine, I kind of wanted to work in magazines and somehow combine that with my love for beauty at the time. So I had a beauty YouTube channel as well. It no longer exists, but I did have quite a following on there, but that's a whole other story and timeline. So I started looking into journalism classes again. Sorry, I have to backtrack a little bit. Before this time, I had kind of dabbled. This is like a 10-year period. So about 5 years before this, I started a journalism class again. This time it was a creative writing course with a major in journalism and creative writing. So I really enjoyed that, but it kind of ended up tapering off, and I think again I found it too hard and I ended up getting a job and just not using it. But I did really enjoy it, and it kind of left the taste in my mouth and a yearning to pick that up again. So now, how many years ago did I do my journalism course? So I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago, I looked up journalism again, and I could really struggle to find an actual journalism degree except at this one place called Macleay College in Sydney. So they're a private college and they do a bunch of different courses, but theirs looked like the best and it was specific in journalism. So I went to sign up for the degree and they told me to sign up for the diploma first and see how I liked it. So I did the diploma, and during this time I started finding out more about magazines, and there's a lot of different modules in that course, and one of them was magazines, and I started figuring out that I was really interested in radio as well, and also magazines and just creative freelance writing. During this time I did submit a lot of articles to different magazines and different places, websites and things like that. So a lot of my work has been published around the place online. You can look up my name and you will easily find a track record of things that I've published. And during this time I also worked at a local newspaper to kind of build up experience, because you had to do free internships and that was one of them. I really enjoyed that too. So all of this played into my metamorphosis. The idea of starting a magazine, it kind of started to shift. So I started looking more into starting a magazine, and there's so many questions that I get about like print runs and magazine binding and all this stuff. So I actually found a YouTube channel talking about magazines, and this girl, I think her name was Lauren something, I'll find her in down below. Basically she was the only person that I could find that had useful information about starting a magazine that was relevant, and she had a really cute and aesthetically pleasing channel. So she was really good, but everyone else was kind of trash. I couldn't find that much information or anything that I needed, so I really had to do a lot of my own research. So basically I started playing with Adobe InDesign and I made my first issue ever, and it was for KBS Cosmetics. So I'm just gonna grab that and I'll show you. So I have a stack of magazines here, and this always makes me so excited to look over. I keep forgetting like how much I've actually done and how much the magazine industry has given me, and it's just really exciting. So I made my first issue, which is this one, and through KBS Cosmetics. This isn't a story about KBS Cosmetics, but it does tie a lot into it. So I made a lot of contacts, such as this girl, Marky Megan, And basically I sent her some earrings, she did some modeling, and we collaborated, and that was my first collaboration with this sort of thing. And there she is wearing my earrings. So this was the first issue I did, and while it looks really cool from the outside, I just had a lot of work and a lot of figuring out to do. So I will link all these issues down below so you can have a look digitally to get an idea. Basically, I just had my products in here and beauty related content. I did some articles on people, and I think I did an interview or two. So this is very amateur, and as you can see here, like the text, the way I've displayed it is just not cute at all. So basically I just did a bunch of different things. I'm glad I got good quality images though. I collaborated with a lot of photographers and models. I used modelmayhem.com to find photographers. So I used to do some modeling on there myself, and then I used that to find other people. So that's something that you can use. I can link that down below as well if that would help anyone. I did some book reviews and I plugged one of my books there. So I've been an author for a while as well, and I think when I made this I had just recently published my first book. So yeah, this was my first issue. And then as I started getting more into journalism, I started moving away from KBS Cosmetics. That wasn't the only reason. There were other things at play that kind of ruined my business and made it go downhill. I'm not getting into that. This isn't a story about KBS Cosmetics, but that just had to play into what I was talking about. So then, is this? Yeah, so this is the second issue, very different. I definitely got more into the journalism aspect of things. There is still a bit of beauty in here, and I did do beauty. Still, like, I collaborated with beauty brands and they sent me products and I reviewed them. So being in the beauty industry helped me a lot too. I was kind of known in the beauty industry at the time, not to toot my own horn, and that kind of gave me a lot of contacts. Pausing, I will come back to issue 2, but I just wanted to show you something to kind of give you a bit of like a look into what I mean. So when I had KBS Cosmetics, before I even started my own magazine, I made connections, I talked to people, I met people from being on YouTube. That got me a lot of opportunities, including this one. So Leader Magazine, which I don't think exists anymore actually, contacted me on YouTube or Instagram and asked me if I would come down and do an interview and photo shoot with them. So that was a really exciting thing for me. At that time I was getting offered some things to do with my YouTube, like products to review and things like that. So yeah, that was a big thing for me, and I will show you the interview. So this kind of gave me a look into magazines as well when I went down there to do that. So there is me with my eyelashes, and they did my makeup and everything, and we did a photo shoot. So yeah, and an interview and all of that. So that kind of gave me a look into that. This was a really long time ago. This issue came out in 2014. So yeah, that just gives you an idea of how long my story has been going on for. So back to issue 2. So at this time I had become more into the journalism aspect. As you can see, I was still putting some beauty things in it too, but I was playing around. I had a black and white cover this time, making connections on Model Mayhem, taking advantage of the connections that I had in the beauty industry. As you can see, I still had a long way to go. This is still kind of amateur, but I was working out how to use Adobe InDesign, and I'm pretty much self-taught on Adobe InDesign. There's my soaps from KBS, and I basically just asked a bunch of photographers and models if I could use their photos, and then I started doing articles. So yeah, I was finding people on Instagram and people I knew. I worked with this girl and I asked if I could interview her about her business. One of my good friends has a photography business, so I interviewed her and did a little plug. I put some different things like images in here. I did some advertising in there. I had like a marketing business on the side, and then KBS Cosmetics. This is another girl I knew who started becoming a big DJ, so I interviewed her. My cousin. So it can literally be anyone that you know, like anyone that you know can be interviewed. Everyone has a story. Another different cousin of mine. So everyone has a story. You can literally interview anyone. Another friend of mine who had a business, and I thought it's just a great way to collaborate. Like, yeah, so here I had a bit of fun with this too. I don't know if you can really tell, but I overlaid those images and made them kind of transparent. I was just playing around with some different things, some different fonts and like logos and stuff. As you can see, that's very close to the top, so it usually shouldn't be like that, and you shouldn't have big spaces between wording like that. But you'll see as I get further into like my latest magazine. Lynette, she was actually a journalism teacher for me in the second course that I tried to do, and yeah, so I just had a lot of fun making that. And my magazines were always pretty thin. Compare it to like a normal sized thick one. I don't know if you can even tell, kind of. Yeah, so as I went on, I started evolving it more and I started learning more things. So I forgot to mention too, I always printed on MagCloud. So I found MagCloud pretty early on. I'll link it down below. It is a print on demand company. I suggest always using print on demand companies because you don't want to spend heaps of money, have like hundreds of magazines stuffed in your garage. And that's something that the Leader magazine founder told me, that and I noticed she had heaps of magazines in her garage and had spent a lot of money and then hadn't sold them. So that is something really important to remember. MagCloud is great. You just upload your magazine to there. They do the rest. If someone orders it, they print it for you, ship it off for you, and you get the money. Like, they take the printing cost and that is it. So that could not be easier. Absolutely love print on demand companies, and I could not suggest MagCloud enough. They also allow you to put your magazine on there digitally, which is amazing. So about this point, I was discovering that I loved the radio aspect of journalism. So I decided to start up a podcast, and now I haven't done an episode in a really long time, and I never like quit. I just kind of left it there, and like as I interviewed people, I uploaded them. You can find my magazine podcast as well. I will link that down below. I just thought it was a really good way to combine like speaking content, and podcasts are really fun with written content, print and digital, and it was just a really good fun way for me to have fun with it, gain a portfolio, which was kind of the point of me starting this whole thing. I wanted to show these magazines to places I applied for, and like that I could manage a team and put together content and things like that. So I also had stuff on the website as well, which I'll get to later. But yeah, so that's how I started. That's magazine 2. Magazine 3, I had another contact from YouTube, Sheridan Fisher. You may have heard of her. She's an actress. She had a bikini line called Sheridan Swim. Her ex-husband is a photographer, and yeah, so I had her on this issue. I was getting better, as you can see, at like designing, playing with fonts and stuff like that. So in this one, I actually have a table of contents, which is good to show people what is in the magazine. And I think I just found this girl on Instagram, but there's another interview. My paragraphs are getting better there. I started doing some photo shoots myself, and that is always a cool way too. If you don't have photographers or photos to use, you can always do that. More models that I found on Model Mayhem. This issue was the first time I had someone actually submit a piece of writing. So people started finding me and asking if they could contribute. So this was a contributor. which was really exciting. This was a girl that I went to marketing school with. I forgot to mention that. So I did do a Cert 4 in marketing. Actually, I think I did a diploma as well. I've done a lot of courses and that really helped too. I met a lot of people there. Doing courses, I feel like, and joining clubs and having hobbies is the best way to meet people, and it can really serve you in the long run. Like, I still have all these people on Facebook, and something that a journalism teacher told me once was to write down the name of everyone you ever meet, because you never know when you're going to need them or want to collaborate with them. And it is so true. Like, so many people that you wouldn't even think of, like, you met in passing, and then you could collaborate with them because they have a cool business now or they've done cool things. So that is another thing that I did. I really like this photo shoot. I can't remember where I found her, but yeah, this one is the first one that I actually did a podcast and an article interview. So that was really exciting. This girl is really big on Instagram. She's actually really big in the fashion world now. She's moved all around the world. She has a blog called Candid That, and she does it with her sister, and it's just so much fun and so exciting. That was really exciting for me. I was getting bigger names wanting to be involved in my magazines, and that was really exciting. And it was all organic, all people I met in person or met online, so really exciting. Another photo shoot that I did, this one was actually really exciting because I can't remember where I found this girl, but she designed costumes, and I thought it would be really cool to wear one of the costumes in a photo shoot and collaborate that way. So we actually met at Sydney Central Station. She gave me the outfit and I was on my way home from uni. She was on her way home from somewhere, and it was just really fun. And then we met again to exchange it back. So that was really, really fun. This is just another one from somewhere. This is the interview with the cover model Sheridan Fisher. So is that I interviewed her about her book. And then these are more costumes from that girl that I met at the train station. It sounds so weird, but another collaborator. So that's exciting. I think I actually found collaborators a lot of the time on like job websites like Indeed. I asked if anyone would be interested in collaborating. A lot of people replied. This girl was collaborating. She said she also had like an interview and a cool image with a fashion designer, so that we added those in. And then there's more photos of her, an article by me. Oh, this is so much fun. So Beach Peach is run by Ellie Candy, and she has both a fitness label and she does like fitness stuff on Instagram. She's gotten really big too. She lives in Bondi and she just does all this cool stuff with different people from around the world. So they came up to me and we did a photo shoot using her products, which was so much fun. Great to meet her too and make more connections. Yeah, so we just did a really cool photo shoot. It was just so much fun. This whole magazine issue was so much fun. Here is actually a photo shoot I did, but it's a collaboration with a brand. So they sent me that dress and another brand sent me those glasses, and I did a photo shoot for them, and that was in there. So that was so much fun too. I really miss doing photo shoots. I haven't done any for a while. So then we have, what is that, 3 issues? Is this, yeah, this is issue 4. So I've done I've done 6 issues, but I don't know where the 5th issue is. But this brings us further down into the story, and this video is getting really long. I promise I'm nearly done my story, but this issue, I had a lot of collaborators, and oh my gosh, I love this issue so much. Like, look at that cover. How cool is that? I was really starting to get comfortable at this point with Adobe InDesign and collaborating with people, and we were finding really cool locations. It was just so much fun, and I noticed a huge jump in this issue from issue 3 in my skill in this area. I took my time on this issue and did a lot of cool things. So my brother took this photo and we found this really cool location at a skate park, but I collaborated with this roller skate brand. I collaborated with the brand of the outfit I'm wearing. and it was just so much fun. So you can see here the fonts. I use dafont.com, dafont.com. I'll link it down below. The fonts are free and you can import them into anything. You can import them into Canva or Adobe InDesign, which is the two places that I design magazines, and I will talk more about that in a little bit. Canva. So how good is this contents page? So I just love this so much. Like, it's just so much better. And then I put the credits in here too. I put where people can submit and everything like that, so that it makes it easy for them. I was well into my podcast too at this time. I have reviews at the beginning, so I always kind of left beauty in this, and I still get contacted by beauty companies and PR companies mostly asking me to try stuff out, and now I just review stuff on the website. I've stopped making the physical copies for the time being. I may come back to it, but I just realized, like, I love teaching people how to make magazines, and I love that chapter of my life of me making them, but I was feeling more pulled to fiction writing and training people on how to set up, how to self-publish and how to publish magazines. So that's where I'm at this stage in my life. Yeah. So another Model Mayhem. This is a collaboration with Willow Bay bags. So it's like an ad, and then I had an interview here. That's actually my uncle. Yeah, that was a really cool interview because he was a vegan and a bodybuilder, and that's kind of two things that are a bit contradictory, but in a good way. It makes for an interesting article. So this was another, oh my gosh, collaboration. So I got this bike gifted to me. A bike worth hundreds of dollars, a bike. So it was probably the coolest thing. One of the coolest things I've ever gotten out of this magazine journey. I still have the bike. It's in my garage. So this is a photo shoot I did with the bike, and I'm just going to pause there for a moment. The bike, this also got me into Frankie magazine. You've probably heard of it. It's a really famous magazine all around the world. So the collaboration was that I got a bike and I take photos with it, and they can use the photos as well. So I didn't even know about this until someone I knew picked up the magazine and asked me if it was me, and it was. So they put me, an ad of me in Frankie magazine. Oh my gosh. And I've also been told that someone saw a billboard of me on it, and yeah, so they just used my material, but it's one of the coolest collaborations I've ever done. To this day, they still use the photos on their Instagram and for their marketing stuff, which I could not be happier about. It is a very exciting thing for me. That was a huge jump. I had just made a media kit for the first time, which is something we'll talk about in this course too, and it's just very, very, very exciting for me. So that was just a huge jump in my magazine career, and prove to others and myself how connections are great and how you should just ask someone if you want something. I didn't know these people. I just reached out to the company and asked. They asked if they could call me, and up until then I'd only talked to people on email. So that was really, really nerve-wracking, but the call went well. I got a bike, I went and picked it up and met the brand. It was just really, really, really cool. So we have more interviews here. Again, this could be a lot better, and it does get better as I get into different magazine issues, but you can just see the improvement here. And at this point, I had a lot of contributors, so that is a contributor article. I have just lots of photos. So I went overseas. I paused my journalism trip and I went overseas. And so this magazine issue has a lot of my travel stuff in it. So does the next one, actually, I think. Yeah, so does the next one, but I don't know where it is. More photos from the photo shoot we did. The collaborations. This is a submitted article, but look how cool this font is. I'm obsessed with that font. So that was just another thing that I did. And another person that I knew from beauty school, actually, she's famous model now, so I got to interview her, and I had some more interviews here, some submissions. This one by Jake, he actually ended up being a long-term submitting author contributor, so that was really fun. I made a friendship with him and he stayed with me for a while through the next issues, and he's really lovely. And then he started getting more into like screenwriting and stuff, so he moved on, but we're still friends, and that's the great thing. You can make connections with people that you have forever. There's another interview that he did with a local artist, so she's a singer, so that's really cool too. There's his picture. And another one, he was actually an artist as well, Jake, and he painted a mural on a cafe in Sydney. So yeah, that was really cool. That was a fun issue. And then I can't find issue 5, which I'm sad about because I had a lot of my traveling stuff in it. Let me just check it. Okay, yay, I found it. I'm so glad because I completely forgot who was on the cover of this one. Okay, I'm just so excited because this was such a fun chapter for me, and I just made so many awesome contacts. So this was my first overseas contact. I believe that was a brand. So, you know, Stella McCartney. She was on the cover. Oh my gosh. So a PR agent contacted me, or I might have I contacted him. So one day I was sitting in the doctor reading a magazine and I saw that her PR agent in there. I don't know how, I think like in the credits or something, and I just decided to contact a bunch of people out of there. That's a good way to meet people too. So I did that, and he got back to me and he sent me a PR packet basically with things to do articles on, like fashion items stuff. He sent me some photos. I was going to interview her, but she was too busy, so I couldn't do that, but they sent me this photo to use anyway. So how cool is that? Like the black and white font, her on the cover. I'm just obsessed. So the credits, I started doing a letter from the editor, and I have my podcast there. I really like that. That's it on SoundCloud. And I had a bit of behind the scenes in here from some of the photo shoots I did. And if you'd like to have a closer look at any of this, my magazines are free to read digitally on MagCloud, so I'll link that down below. So I had a beauty review section. I had some stuff from my trips overseas, some more models, more overseas trip stuff. I did a really cool collaboration in person, which most of my collaborations were online. This one was in person with the Llama Collective. So basically they hire out llamas for parties and things like that. But I'd seen lots of photos of them online, and I asked if I could come and interview her and do photo shoots with the llamas and get to know them. So that was a really fun day. And then I just am obsessed with these fonts. And yeah, more interviews with people that I know. I thought this was cool too. This was a collaboration with a vaping company, and they sent me their supposedly healthy vapes with essential oils in them, so they were really cool. Monk is the brand. So my brother and I did photo shoots with them, and I just thought the photos came out really cool, and the article. This was my first time finding images on Canva and adding them in. I did make this on InDesign. I used Canva for some free images. Jake, who I mentioned in my last issue, he did some drawing to go with his articles, which was a really fun thing that he started adding in, and it reminded me of like those old school magazines and newspaper like articles I used to see when I was a kid, and lots of the time they'd have drawn art in them like that. So here's a Stella McCartney collaboration. So they sent me photos to use, and I did an article on that, which was really fun. More articles, an interview with a friend of mine from school who is now living in America and doing really fun things. She hires out like studios that she owns basically for people to film music videos and stuff like that. She also has courses and things like that. And I had some art in here. I used to try and include art as well from people that I knew. It's just a fun thing to add. And then issue 6, which was my last one, and I made this one on Canva. This is the only one that I made on Canva, and I really liked it. I loved how it came out. I loved how easy it was and how quick it was to make it, and I got to add some fun elements like these different things. And the thing with Canva is they have free images that you can use, royalty free images, which is really fun. So how cool is all this font in these images? And like, look at that, a crinkled paper background, like just so many cool things in here. This issue is pretty basic, but like, look how cool that is, my beauty section. I figured out how to use PNG images, which are transparent images, so that is something that we will talk about. That is a big thing in magazines and just makes them look so much more professional. All these beauty products, by the way, were sent to me to try out, and then I did articles on them. So are those, but look at those fonts, look how nice that looks. I just love it. This is another contact that I made. He like directs movies, and he also has a real estate show on TV. He's from America, I believe, and I interviewed him. He actually contacted me with an interview, and then here I did more another article, but I played around with the images and made them like distorted and added filters on them to make them look really cool. And if you have a short article, that's a good thing that you can do to just take up room on the page and make it look a bit better. One is another collaboration I did with the brand Roxy, which is pretty big as well, and they sent me this jacket, and so I took some photos with it and just made the page look really cool. Another brand that sent me stuff, and I did a review of them there. And this is a big one. I interviewed John Jarratt, who lots of you may know. He was the actor on Wolf Creek and a bunch of other things, and I got to interview him. And a cool thing about that was, so he wrote a book, and I contacted his publisher and asked if I could have an interview, and then they asked for my phone number. I thought they were going to call me, and he ended up calling me unannounced, and that was really fun. So I did a podcast interview with him, and then I also did one on here. So that was a really exciting thing for me as well. Some more interviews here, and just played around with different fonts and things like that. And then another interview that a contributor did with a record label. So yeah, and then that picture is from Canva as well. So I'm really excited in this course to show you all the things that you can do, and how you can make contacts in the industry, share contacts with you that I have made in the industry on Patreon, and just how to maximize your magazine business and make your beautiful magazines. So that is an introduction into my background in the magazine industry and a little bit on me. And in lesson 1, I'm going to be talking to you about starting up a business, registering a business, or if you want to have your magazine as more of a creative thing rather than a business, we can talk about that as well. Ideas for your magazine and what category that you want to have it in, like four-wheel driving, floristry, weddings, beauty, anything like that. Figure that out, and we'll also talk about your target audience. So thank you so much for sticking around for this long intro. Please subscribe and like this video so you don't miss any of the other videos in this course. Please comment down below what genre of magazine you're hoping to go for, and I will see you in my next video.